not going to believe how amazing this table is.
Hey everyone, it's Dylan from the Black Forest Wood Company. This week we're going to be showing you our construction process on this absolutely one-of-a-kind cottonwood burl dining table. It's got midnight blue Black Forest deep resin and then the largest cantilever base that we've ever constructed. So you guys are going to get to see this full build process, and then you're also going to get to see it delivered into the final space. So it's not that common that you'll see cottonwood being used to create a $30,000 piece of furniture. Some little known fact, I guess, about cottonwood is it's mostly used for like pallets, crates, plywood, fuel. Like they'll actually burn it as fuel, that it's like the lumber is that invaluable in most cases, let's say. As you guys can see though, this tree is a little bit of an anomaly. It is highly burled, highly figured, and just a one-of-a-kind piece, and definitely worth using in this table.
See how I got in there and saved his life? Saved my toes. Yeah, I saved his life there, Haley.
So this client selected a massive piece of cottonwood burl. We do have to cut it down slightly though, but not too much since they are going with a cast. So this slab is going to stay mostly intact. I personally think that's probably the best choice for this slab since it is so rare to actually find a piece this large. Like this slab in some sections is over 5 feet wide. So doing it as a cast is kind of the perfect application for this piece. Once we got it all cleaned up and debarked, then we went ahead to do the pour, and the client selected a midnight blue resin. You'll see why once we get to the delivery and we get this piece in the client's space. The resin color here actually ends up matching perfectly. Of course, as usual, we're using our Black Forest deep resin. You can pour our resin up to like 3 or 4 inches thick in a single shot, but you will want to make sure that you have some cooling involved. So we have aluminum tables that have water cooling underneath them, and then we also blow fans on the surface. I would say without the water cooling, you can probably do 3 inches safely just with some fans, and then if you're going to exceed that, you definitely want to get some sort of either air-conditioned room, the aluminum cooled table, or something to help keep the resin cool while it cures. And then once we got it demolded and lifted down from upstairs, it's time to put it on our Avid CNC for flattening. So we actually do have 2 CNC machines. We have a BSE that we use for door joinery and table joinery, and then we have our Avid that's primarily just used for flattening. So this is the bottom side, and usually the bottom side only takes a pass or 2. One thing though with this table is it's too wide to fit through our wide belt sanders. So to get all of these CNC marks out, we're gonna have to sand that by hand. We like to start with a gem sander and then move to the Mirka for finish sanding. Then it's time to get working on the base. So this is another one of our cantilever bases. We've done one of these one time before, and it was much smaller than this one. So this is the largest cantilever base that we've ever done. The whole thing is constructed from solid ash that we're going to be putting a blackened finish on. And then we've just got our door dowels that we usually use in our door manufacturing to assemble some of the components for this base. What you're seeing here right now is actually the center support that will hold the whole cantilever up. So that's made out of 3 plies, and then this is the fatter, shorter part of the cantilever that center support actually passes right through the middle of. So I don't know if I'm doing a good job describing that, but shortly here, once we get assembling the base, you'll see what I mean by everything. And then here's that center support once it's out of the clamps. And what the boys are doing here right now is they're clamping it into the drill press so that they can drill the angled joinery that's going to hold it into the shorter, fatter piece of the cantilever. So again, we're going to be using, oh wait, do a cut there. Okay. I'll just say it again. And instead of using the door dowels here, these holes are going to be for big, long screws that are going to hold this together. We could rely on wood glue or dowels, but the screws will actually help to pull the joinery tight. So that's what we've decided to do here. And since this is going to be hidden inside the joinery of the base, no one is ever going to see these holes or see the screws. So it's just kind of a nice insurance policy for our joinery. And now comes to the glue up of the base, the final assembly. So we do put a little glue on the one face for that center support. And here's the screw holes that I was talking about earlier. So we've got 9 screws that we're going to be sinking in there. So with all of that support, you know, this base should be nice and strong. We shouldn't have to worry about anything ever coming apart or any movement in this base. You know, it could happen, but we've purposely over-engineered this base to not fail.
Okay.
After final assembly is done, we took this piece to Gecko to get it blackened. Normally we do our blackened finishes by hand, but the top for this table was getting sprayed by Gecko as well. So we just decided to have them do the spray finish on the base so that everything matched. So they do the spray stain first, and then once that's cured, they actually go ahead and spray the same clear coat that they used on the top on the base. Now that the base is back from Gecko, you can see the nice blackened finish with the clear coat on it. It's time for us to install our metal inlays. So on our first cantilever base, we did brass inlays. This client though has a lot of nickel in their space, so we're doing aluminum inlays that are going to imitate nickel. Aluminum's nice because it's non-ferrous, so it's really easy for us to cut, turn, and polish, anything like that. It's just a lot easier to work with. And John here is just using a bead of silicone to help secure all these in place. And then we tape it in, and in our experience, the silicone does a really good job of holding in small inlays like this for the long term.
And then these are the beams.
Oh, the supports? Okay. Since this tabletop is so large and so heavy, we can't just rely on the wooden supports of the cantilever on their own. So we're actually adding some aluminum dowels on the overhanging edge to give some extra support and stability. So John's just cutting those to length on the festool, and then we actually put them on the lathe to get a nice brushed finish on them.
Standing up on edge, we got what? 2 cards? Yeah. Okay, here we go. Up and over. Okay, switch around. Okay. Lovely. Oh, that's a beauty. Okay.
Now that we've got the top flattened, sized, and sanded, we take it over to Jekko for them to put their finish on it. So this is a 2-component acrylic urethane that they're spraying on here. And we have been getting a lot of questions, how do we decide whether we're going to do an oil finish or a spray finish? And it really ends up coming down to the client preference. So the pros and cons of each finish are, I guess let's start with polyurethane. The pros are, the biggest one is the durability. It has very high resistance against any kind of liquids or water marking. I think it's actually rated for resistance all the way up against sulfuric acid. I don't see why that would ever end up on a client's table, but should it happen, they're covered. The downsides to a polyurethane though would be that if you get any kind of accidental damage like a scratch or a chip, it's not the kind of finish you can repair on your own. You're having to call us to take the table out of your house and have it resprayed. Whereas an oil finish, you can easily repair any damage, but it is going to show damage easier. So you're going to probably expect to have maintenance like once or twice a year on an oil-based finish table, whereas a polyurethane table that's well taken care of may never need maintenance. It's just if something should happen, it's a lot more costly to repair. Okay, so we've just pulled up to our client's gorgeous home here. The table's very big, so fortunately it's just a straight shot in. But if you look here, the door is kind of narrow. So it's a little bit of a tight squeeze through there, but then once we're through there, that should be the hardest part, and then the rest should be easy. We're hoping.
Close to the door because it's very heavy to carry, believe it or not.
All the way? You carried it more than me. How heavy do you think it is?
I think it's like 500 pounds or something.
400 or 500?
Yeah, at least 350 pounds on the low end.
Do you want to walk right into where it goes on the edge? Do the felt, then stand it up?
Yeah.
Okay. Four guys got that in there. I'm going on this end here. Okay. Okay, pull it right out. Okay, go on. All right. Let's lift some weight here, guys. Now, even when it goes sideways, we can't grab this really.
No, I thought.
Okay, which way do we want to rotate it? I might as well spin it towards Curtis to use my hand.
Yeah, grab it tight up here. Go close up to the front there.
Maybe you will have to come more. Maybe you will have to come here.
Okay, be beside it.
Okay.
I'll be able to get in.
But we're gonna lose support here.
I'll try to keep it supported.
Can you get inside here, Curtis? Because you have to. There you go. There you go. There you go.
We're getting close on this side here.
It's tipping. Keep it level, guys. Which way you want the cantilever to face?
Maybe we could. Should we set it on this edge here to do our?
Okay. Yes.
Our phone?
Sounds like everybody needs a break. Down we go.
Yep. That was the hard part.
You're not going to believe how amazing this table is. This is incredible. This is one of the craziest tables, like with the base concept and everything.
You don't have your felt certification?
I don't have felt certification as of yet. Good.
Yeah.
Like that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Up we go. All right.
Over, everyone watch your head.
Okay, so we want to pivot it now,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
As we set it down. Okay.
Okay. Good. Go slowly. Okay, good.
guess it's going to be easiest to bring it off this way and then tilt it up that way to go in. Let's lift her up a bit, guys. Okay, don't come this far. We're good. Okay, keep going. Okay.
The other one on that side.
Okay.
Now, which end are we going on?
We got to go up to me. So, and as soon as we get a vertical, you guys got to get under it too.
I'm under.
Okay. Okay. Vertical. Go vertical, guys. Hold on. Oh.
Close to the top of the door.
Go down. Right here. Go down. All right, go down. Okay, well, we'll be able to kind of tilt it and walk it around. You guys.
3, 2, 1. Okay.
Okay,
Down on the blankets.
Okay, let's go.
Yep.
Yeah, over she goes. Up she goes.
Up.
Okay.
Okay.
Too much, too much.
Okay.
Right about there.
Okay, down she goes.
Okay.
Touching that
Yeah,
plate.
so we can move.
So you don't need to be tight at all.
And then if it's all go in, we can actually tight.
There's no water. It's just heat would be.
Which I'm sure you'll be careful of. Yeah. It's still like, even though we tried.
I know.
This thing is rock solid.
Yeah.
This is super solid. Yeah, because from here I just see glare. It's a masterpiece.
How the chairs have the nickel. Thank you guys for watching this week's YouTube video. This table turned out absolutely incredibly. It's a stunning piece of cottonwood burl. Like, even just the piece of wood on its own, it's very rare to find something this figured and this large. And then just pairing it with this nice midnight blue resin that ties perfectly into the other details in the home was such a nice touch. And then the cantilever base has nickel detailing, and you can also see matching nickel details on the chairs. So I am overly satisfied with how this whole project came together. Huge thank you to our clients for trusting us with this process and allowing us to create such a beautiful piece. And I hope you guys enjoyed watching the process, and we hope to see you next week.